Hello, welcome to Should I Buy This Game, featuring the Gems of Iridescia. My name is Christine, and in this video I'll give you an overview of how the game is played, and then share a few things we may like or dislike about the game to help you decide if you want to add the Gems of Iridescia to your collection. This is the game Gems of Iridescia, and this is the iridescent edition, which basically means that my gems will be shinier. Otherwise, the game is the same. So in this game, we are moving along this track by turning over these tiles. And in doing so, we're going to be collecting gems and then ideally trading in our gems for these relics, which will score us some points in the game. So what we're doing is we have our people down here. At your start, you can turn over 2 of the tiles. Now, in the first round, I can turn over any of the tiles. They don't have to be beside each other. But maybe I will just turn over this one and this one. And so we have a pink gem and we have the citrine gem. So I'm going to decide which one I want to go on. And to start, maybe I want to go on the citrine just because it will give me more movement as I move up. So I would put my player piece here. And then I would get a citrine gem, which I would place on my player mat. Now we only have space for 7 gems. So we want to be trading them in for these relics. So if I'm looking here, there's 2 relics that have a citrine. Now what I could do at this point is I have the option of mining. Now over here you'll see these dice, and these represent the cost of the gems at this point. They all start at 2. So to mine gems, I would need to get over 2 on my dice. Now it's always good to mine early because these numbers are going to be changing. So maybe I will mine for the citrine. So I have over here my 2 dice. I have to pay 3 coins if I want to mine. So I'm going to put that away. And then I roll my dice. If I can get 2 or higher, I can get another gem. And I got a 6 and a 2. So therefore, I get 2 more citrine to add to my collection. Then I decide, can I fulfill any of these cards? And I cannot. So at the end of my turn, I'm going to take this tile, move it into my area because they're worth points at the end of the game. And the final thing you're going to do is raise your dice. So I'm going to move that to a 3. So now if I was to sell a citrine, it's worth 3 points. Or if I wanted to mine, I needed to get 3 or higher. So the other player is going to do something similar. They're going to turn. It's another citrine and an emerald. They might be, I want to go for the emerald. They would get the emerald. If they wanted to mine, they could. And then at the end of their turn, they would take this into there. And then the emerald die would be switched to 3. So it's back to my turn. And on your turn, you're going to turn over 2 tiles. Now, because of where I'm situated, I'm sort of locked in. I can only do these because these have already been. But you can do beside or above, not below. So it's another pink, and it's an emerald. So I might go for the emerald because there's a lot of emeralds out there. So if I come here, I get my emerald, I add it to my area. Now I have 2 coins, and another option is I can buy cards. And these cards are worth the cost the amount on the bottom. So for this one, I can choose a card from the relics from the deck and reserve it. And this one allows me to re-roll any of your dice when you're rolling for or to re-roll the gem market dice. So this is if you are rolling and you don't get the number you need, you can re-roll a die to try to get the number. So I have an option. I could buy a card. The other ones are good, but they're more expensive. I only have 2 coins. So at this point, though, I think I want to save my coins because I want to try and mine again. So for now, I'm going to save it. So I would take this into my area, and then emerald would move up again. So it's now at a 4. So if I wanted to sell an emerald later, it's currently worth 4 gems. But if I want to mine, you've got to have dice a lot higher. So the next player does something similar. They can go here. It's a sapphire. They're both sapphires. So he could go here trying to block me to go that way. So they would get a sapphire. They would decide if they could turn in any relics and then end their turn by getting this and moving sapphire up. So I have the option. Okay, so I turn this, and it is a citrine and an emerald or the pink one. I currently already have the citrine and the emerald. So let's just go over here to see what am I working on. Because with the citrine, I need those ones. So I still need a sapphire. So I think it's best if I go for a pink because there's a lot of pink going on here. So what I think I might do is I'm going to move over this way because as I said, you can move sideways. This, if I had gone here, this would have given me one of these stone dice I could add to my set and roll at one point when I'm mining, and then they would go back. But I'm going to go across to get the pink. If I can get the pink. Then what I might do is I'm going to sell one of my citrines. So if I sell it, it's currently worth 3 points. So I would get 3 coins. But I'm going to use those 3 coins to mine because the pink is still only at 2. So I paid it the money. I rolled this. I have a 2 and a 6. That's enough. So I can get 2 more of the pink. So if I look up here, if I get a blue, I could get that one even. But if I get a blue, I could get this one. So there's a lot of pink up here, so it's going to give me some options soon in the future. Then I would take this into my area and turn the pink now to 3. So this guy here, he can only turn this card or this tile because it's the only one surrounding. Now he already had a sapphire, so maybe he's going to go citrine. So not only would he get a citrine, but he would get one of these die. So that would go out of the game into his area until he's ready to use it. And then he would take his turn, blah, blah. We're not fully doing the second player. So now I can turn over this one beside me and this one here. They are both rainbows. Rainbows let you choose whatever color you want. So of course I'm going to go here and I'm going to choose that sapphire. So now if you're going to do anything else, you have to do it before you get your relic. So if I was going to get a card or if I was going to mine or if I was going to sell something, it would happen before I get the relic. The last thing you do is get it. So now I'm not going to mine, I'm not going to do a card, but I do want to get one of these. And so this one is worth 6 points. This one's worth 5. I'm thinking, I have one of each. I can do 10. So I trade in my sapphire, my pink, my citrine, and my emerald. And I get this card, which is worth the 10 points. So it goes down here into my set, and I am on the board with 10 points. And then these just would get returned to the area. And we would refill the card. Now, if there was still a card that had the 2 pinks and the citron, I'd be able to get it as well, but it is not. So that would be the end of my turn. Now, the important thing to know too is I'm going to take this rainbow tile into my thing, but because it was a rainbow, none of the dice will change their price. So even though I used it for a sapphire, the sapphire does not change its price on the die, and that gets put into my collection. And you continue working your way up. You can go sideways or forward. Now you want to watch how your opponent's going, because once they get to the top, that ends their turn. Once you get a tile from this top row, your turn ends. But if you're still making your way up, your opponent then on their turns gets to remove tiles to block your way. So you sort of want to watch to see how your opponent's playing and move along the track sort of at an equal pace. But basically, that is how the game is played. At the end of the game, though, if we look down here, as well as scoring the points as you go, at the end of the game, for every gem you have left, for every 2 gems you have left, you get 1 point. If you have a combination on your cards, you see here we have rings and scrolls and gears. So if you have one of each, you can get 5 points. If you have 3 rings, you can get 5 points. If you have 3 gears, you can get 7 points. And if you have 3 of the scrolls, you can get 9 points. Now this card I got here is actually a rainbow card and can be put in for any of the images. Then when it comes to these, how we were collecting them, if you have 3 of the same, you get 3 points. If you have 5 of the same, it's worth 7. 7 of the same is worth 12. And that rainbow one I collected again can be put in as any of the colors. So you're thinking about that. As well, when we started the game, we had some objective cards. So for example, I had restore the most jewelry relics, which is here with the jewelry symbol, or restore the most citrine relics. And it's like these ones that have the most citrine. Once you hit the forest, you have to decide which card you're keeping and which card you're getting rid of. And if you fulfill it, then you will get those points as well at the end of the game. And basically, that's how it's played. Whoever hits the top row first in a 2-player game gets this token here. There's more tokens for more players. And there's 1 tile. If you get it, this one here, you would get this, and it is worth 10 points. All the rest at the top are worth 5 points. When you're playing with more players, there's space to put out more pieces along the side. I just set it up for the 2 players. And otherwise, that's pretty much how you play Gems of Iridescia. There is a solo mode to the game. It's played with the ROM. And what you're doing is here it tells you which tiles they want to turn over. So if this is available, they want these before these. So in the order of availability. Then there's a different image on it. So this is a barricade tile. So they would roll a die and place it on the tile in the row above where you are. In this one, it is a merchant card. And so they would get a card from here and they would get the points listed on the bottom, like where these are coins that you would have to pay. They would get those points. If it has 3 times, they get 3 times the gem that they get that turn. And if it's 2 times, they get 2 times the gem of that turn. They're always wanting the gem when you're having to pick which gem to go to. Whichever one shows up the most up here in the most demand, they will want to get that gem. You're also trading in their gems for these cards to get points. So I did play the solo mode, and in the end, I did win. I found that due to the placement, he got to the top really quick. And the difference is when they're at the top, they do not turn over tiles. So once they got to the top, I just took my time moving along, collecting gems and trading in the cards. But they get points for everything. If they get one of these dice, they roll it and they get 4 points. That would be like here, if they had got a die. If they have this, they would get the point. There's some with coins. Maybe it's higher up. So instead of getting 2 coins, they would get 2 points. They get points for everything. I think I was down here and they were like in the 80s or something. It was crazy how many points they get. But then they stop getting points while you continue to play and you slowly catch up. And because when I played, they went up a lot quicker, they didn't have a lot of these tiles or cards. So when it came to scoring this, I had a lot more points than they did. And so it's an easy way to play. You're just moving them along. If you're scoring it though, they get like tons of points. I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to beat it because they got points where we don't get points for everything. But if you want to play solo, it is a simple format to keep moving along to play the game solo. So overall, we enjoyed Gems of Iridescia. I'd give it sort of a light strategy because you're deciding only between a few areas of which gems you're going to get, which cards you're going to fulfill. Will somebody fulfill the card before you? But even if they do, you usually have a lot of choices. Like there's a lot of different combinations that once you start collecting gems, you'd be able to make up some of these different combination of cards. Now with these cards here, I've bought this card a couple times, but in the end, I ended up not using the card. So some of these cards might give you good benefits, but you have to decide like, well, this one gives you an additional turn, but it's worth 6 coins, and 6 coins means you could have like done the mining twice. And so I'm always more about the mining than getting the cards. Let me know if you've played and if there's cards here you found very beneficial that you always want to get. But for me personally, I've always stuck more to spending my money on mining, selling a gem so I can get more mining if I have excess of certain ones, because if you mine and you get more than you need, you can sell it, because with each time, these dice over here are going up. So once they hit 5 or 6, you can sell 1 gem. You get 6 coins, which means you can mine twice. So you're trying to figure out that when to sell, when to mine, just to get more gems, because the more gems you have, the more relics you'll be able to get. So that's sort of the strategy of the game. When it comes to the end here with the different things, when I'm playing, I'm usually not even looking at any of this. I'm just getting the relics I want and the gems I want. And then at the end being, oh, look, I ended up with 7 of those. Lucky me. I get 12 points. But it could be another way where you are focusing on these to get those specific things, to get those endpoints, and maybe that will lift you up at the end of the game. I haven't played that way. I've played where I'm just getting what I'm able to get at the time. The one thing I just want to mention is the coins. They didn't come with the iridescent collection. It was a separate upgrade purchase, just so you know. But otherwise, the game is pretty straightforward. From the video, you should be able to know pretty much how to play. Here in this position, I'm no longer able to turn over any tiles. So in my next turn, I'd be forced to go to the rainbow and pick the gem I wanted. Whereas this guy here would be able to turn over 2 tiles, and he'd be able to pick between these. And this, I kept calling this pink. It's actually amethyst. It's a purple amethyst, emerald, sapphire, and citrons. And then here, depending, you would either get a coin, you would get a point, or you would get another stone die that can be used once when you go to mine. So you have more dice to mine with, which means potential of receiving more of the gems. And that is pretty much the game. So let me know if you have played Gems of Iridescia and what you think of this game.